Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back in today with another fantasy football video. In today's video, I got Week 11 tight end start or sit decisions. Now, before I get into going through every single matchup of the week from Thursday Night Football all the way till Monday Night Football, I'd like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite way to play DFS on all of the interwebs. Now, Overlay DFS has a couple of games you can play, but my favorite is the progressive game type. Now, there are entry points at a lot of different levels. As you can see here, there's a $2.5 game, a $22 game, and a $109 game. Now, in these games, the entry, when you win and become in that top 10%, you get 9 times your buy-in. $2.5 turns into $18. $22 turns into $180, and $109 turns into $900. But the specialty comes in here. It's that progressive bonus, and that is $1,038 for the $2.5 game. For the $22 game, it's over $7,000, and for the $109 game, it's over $2,600. And last week, I saw someone hit that beautiful 12-0 to claim that progressive bonus. Now, how it works is very much simple here. All you got to do is you see a bunch of matchups on your screen. You got to make 12 picks plus 3 alternate picks. So right here, Lamar Jackson versus Deshaun Watson. Who do you think will score more fantasy points? They're playing against each other in real life, so I would go with Lamar Jackson. Now, there's also something that I really like to do here that I think is a secret bit of strategy that seems to work a lot for me. So you scroll down here, and you're going to pick a wide receiver to go with your quarterback. So if I wanted to go, if I really believed that it was Deshaun Watson, I would go Deshaun Watson and Mr. DeAndre Hopkins. But you could also go here and put another wide receiver with another quarterback. It is very much that easy, or match your quarterback with your tight end because you think they are both going to perform. So please make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. They have gotten rid of the way that you can only play just one entry. Now you can do up to 10 entries in these games. So make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. And we are back. Make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. But let's get right back to the video. Week 11 tight end start or sit decisions. Now the first game here is the Steelers at the Cleveland Browns, the Thursday Night Football matchup. And I'm going to be starting up Vance McDonald in this game. Now Vance McDonald is very hit or miss. He has games where he does good. He has games where he does bad. He's not really normally in that average type of games, but he's for me this week just an average tight end. Obviously, I don't love him because Mason Rudolph is kind of hit or miss as well. But with that said, against the Browns defense, I would be starting Mr. Vance McDonald on Thursday night, but I wouldn't consider him to be like a top 5 type of option this week. I'm going to be sitting down all the Cleveland tight ends. Obviously, David Njoku still not back, likely returning next week. Maybe he'll make his way into the start column, but right now, Browns tight ends are all on my sit and a bench this week in fantasy football. Next game here, we got the Jets at the Redskins. Now, I'm going to be sitting down Ryan Griffin and all of the Washington tight ends in this game. Now, I know Chris Herndon has been put on the IR. That was a huge disappointment. But Ryan Griffin, you could play him if you're in a deeper type of league. But I'm talking about like a 10 to 12 team league here. You're really not going to be needing to start Ryan Griffin. Obviously, the Redskins defense is terrible, but Sam Darnold throws the fucking ball to everyone, so it may not be Ryan Griffin the one scoring that touchdown. You're going to end up being super disappointed. There's a bunch of Washington tight ends, Jordan Howard, Vernon Davis, probably out in this fucking game, so who gives a fuck? You're not going to be starting any of those tight ends in this game. Next game here is the Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm going to be starting out both Colts tight ends in this game, Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle. I made this joke at the end of the rankings video last week. Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle have become so good in fantasy football. It's so good in real life. It's back when Gronk and Aaron Hernandez was on the Patriots, but with a lot less killing. Now, Eric Ebron has been actually taking the seat to Jack Doyle recently. Jack Doyle has been more consistent, but at the end of the day, if you're betting on a touchdown, you're going to want to be putting on Eric Ebron. I have Eric Ebron ranked a few slots above Jack Doyle, but obviously they are super duper close. In this matchup against the Jaguars defense that really has not been that good against the tight end all year, I really like Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle this week, and that is why they are warranting a start in fantasy football. Now I'm sitting down Seth DeValve in this game, and all the other Jaguars tight ends. With Nick Foles returning, I really doubt any of these guys are going to perform, and there's so many of them on the team. They don't have a true tight end one. It's not like they have a tight end one and tight end two like the Colts do. They have a tight end one, two, three, four, and they're all going to be in the fucking game all at once. Or not all at once, but all throughout the game, and it's very confusing. So I would just sit both and all of these Jaguars tight ends. Our next game here is the Bills at the Miami Dolphins, and I like to start Mike Gesicki in this game. Now, Mike Gesicki and Mr. Fitzmagic have a great and wonderful connection. Ryan Fitzpatrick loves throwing the ball to Mr. Mike Gesicki, so obviously you're going to keep starting Mike Gesicki as long as Ryan Fitzmagic is the starter, as long as Ryan Fitzmagic is playing like Ryan Fitzmagic and not playing like Ryan Fitzpatrick after a couple of games of him playing great, then Mike Gesicki is a locked and loaded tight end start for me. Obviously, he doesn't have that real potential to be a top 5 guy, top 10 guy against the Bills, but he should be around the 15 to 10 part of the rankings, so he should be good enough to start in your fantasy lineup. Now, I'm going to be sitting down Dawson Knox one time if you're with me, even against this easy matchup against the Miami Dolphins. I don't really trust Dawson Knox all that much. Obviously, you're going to be hoping on that touchdown, and with my tight ends, when there's a lot of teams playing, I don't really like to roll out someone who you're super duper reliant on the touchdown for them. Next game here is the Cowboys at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to be sitting down Jason Witten and TJ Hawkingod. Now, Jason Witten is super duper reliable. Last week, he took a super duper shit in your lineup because he scored like 3 points. But pretty much every single week, he is very, very reliable. So if you want to throw in a guy that's going to score you like 7, 8 points, then go ahead and play Jason Witten, but there's very little upside with him. And this matchup against the Detroit Lions is actually kind of tough towards the tight end, so I wouldn't necessarily love Jason Witten this week, and I don't love him any week. TJ Hawkingod just isn't getting the ball thrown to him. And with Jeff Driscoll, likely Matty Snapback, Matthew Stafford not going to be playing in this Sunday matchup, I do not like TJ Hawkinson unless Stafford is on the field. And even with Stafford on the field this season, has been very up and down for TJ Hawkingod. Next game here is the Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going to be starting up Mark Andrews in this game. We saw Mark Andrews last week against the Cincinnati Bengals drop not one, but a 2 touchdowns straight in the Bengals mouth. Now, Mark Andrews this week against the Texans, obviously facing a tougher type of defense, but Mark Andrews is still going to be balling out of control. Mark Andrews is a top 5 tight end pretty much every single week, barring a matchup, and this Texans matchup won't be able to hold him back from being that top 5 guy this week. And I'll be sitting down Darren Fells in this game. Now, the Baltimore Ravens defense isn't that amazing, but they are pretty good. And with Darren Fells, it seems like you're going to be rolling the dice with the tight end. Now, he has been finding the end zone recently, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, so that's pretty good, obviously, but in this game, if he does not find the end zone, I'm going to lay him on the bench. Next game here is the Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to be starting up third leg Greg because he's going to drop his drawers and let her see his third leg. Greg Olsen last week went balls deep in the Green Bay Packers. Almost 100 yards, no touchdowns, but still got so many receptions that it made him worthy of a fantasy start, almost 100 yards also. So that obviously helps him as well. But this week he's playing up against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons defense is who Greg Olsen is playing. So you can't really base everything off of last week. Obviously he played good against the Green Bay defense. But this week I truly believe, like the fucking spiked seltzer, that Greg Olsen is going to go in there against the Falcons and give them a good old skull fucking knock one time if you're with me. I love Greg Olsen this week against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to be sitting down all of the Atlanta Falcons tight ends. Rest in peace to Austin Hooper, one of the great fantasy pickups, one of the great fantasy draft assets you had this year from the back of the draft, but he has shit the bed and he has passed away for your fantasy football lineup, but it is okay because we will still honor him. Thank you, Austin Hooper, for all you have done for everyone's fantasy lineups, both mine and everyone out there who watches my videos. I will say a prayer in your name. God, the fantasy gods, I should say, bless Austin Hooper with a great return for next year. Maybe he'll come back at the end of the year. I'm not sure. But right now, you can't be starting Austin Hooper's gravestone. Next game here, we got the Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to be starting up O.J. Howard in this game. Now, call me crazy, but O.J. Howard last week went in there and skull fucked the defense. And this week, against the New Orleans Saints, I'm going to go ahead and roll him out there again. Now, I don't believe he's going to be a top 5 option or even a top 10 option, more around the 12, 13 ish in the rankings. But with that said, that's still a guy you can start. And as long as Jameis Winston is able to throw the ball to him, then he's going to be able to make those plays. Now, the biggest worry is that Jameis Winston is a grade A fucking idiot, and O.J. Howard just can't perform when no one throws him the ball because he's not the quarterback. He can't toss the rock to himself, so you have to temper your expectations because of that. But if you're feeling risky, you're feeling a bit fucking dangerous, you're going to send the "you up" text straight to O.J. Howard and try to get into that end zone and try to win your fantasy game. Now, Jared Cook, on the other hand, playing against the Buccaneers defense that is good against the run, but they ain't good against the pass. And Jared Cook has potential to smack up the Buccaneers defense. So I'm going to be starting Jared Cook this week. Obviously, relying on the fact that Drew Brees feeds him the rock. But if that could happen, if the blessed scenario that I see in my head happens on Sunday, Jared Cook is going to warrant a stop. Next game here, we got the Denver Broncos at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we're going to be starting up Kyle Rudolph, but he's got the next to him because last week he made that glorious catch. He made that one-handed catch, reach back like 1-3, reach back like Odell Beckham. It was a beautiful catch. But with that said, you can't base everything off of one game. He has been very inconsistent this season. But I'm going to bank on the tight end, Kyle Rudolph, to score a touchdown this week against the Broncos, so I'm going to start him. But you're obviously relying on that touchdown. Now, Kirk Cousins seems to actually be feeding him the ball more recently and in that game against Dallas, so I will start him, but don't be disappointed when he shits his pants in your game against the Broncos. Now, I'm going to be sitting down Noah Fant. Now, Noah Fant could be reliable if the quarterback was better. Brandon Allen obviously played fine, but I am not going to roll out Noah Fant. You're not going to catch me caught dead with Noah Fant in my lineup. My pants are not going to be around my ankles. I'm not going to be dropping the soap and starting Noah Fant this week in fantasy football. Now, the next game here is the Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm going to start George Kittle. But he's got the question mark next to his name. Why does he have the question mark next to his name? Because yesterday, or today as I'm recording this, yesterday for you, they said that George Kittle is going to be out. And then you know what they said? Like an hour later, they said O.J. Howard is actually not out and he can play. So if he plays, you fire him up. If he doesn't play, you sit him down. And if he doesn't play, you don't sit the backup for the 49ers, and you certainly don't start any of those other Arizona tight end in the Arizona tight end carousel. Next game here is the Patriots at the Philadelphia Eagles, the matchup from the Super Bowl a few years ago. And I'm going to be starting up Zach Ertz in this game. Now, I know Zach Ertz has been very hit or miss this season. He has not been the tight end you drafted him for, but if there's anything that the Patriots may be able to allow points to, it is Zach Ertz. I am not confident in it. I have zero confidence in Zach Ertz since he's been so up and down like a fucking roller coaster all season. But with that said, you're probably going to have to start him because he's a guy you drafted so highly, and he is the best, one of the better tight ends in real life. And if Carson Wentz feeds him the ball, he will perform. Now I'm going to sit down Dallas Goedert. Obviously, Dallas Goedert is an option in a lot of weeks, but this week against the New England Patriots, I do not trust him enough and Carson Wentz enough to start him. Now, Benjamin Watson, Mr. Ben Watson, is also a sit. He has not really been performing. All the Patriots tight ends, there's just so many of them, you cannot start any of them. Next games here is the Bengals at the Oakland Raiders, and I'm going to be starting up Darren Waller in this game. Darren Waller did have a bad game last week, but you know what Drake says? Not Drake, actually. Big Sean says this. You take an L, and then you bounce back, because last night, Darren Waller took an L, but he's going to bounce back this week against a terrible, terrible, putrid, the worst, all those words that mean the same exact thing. Darren Waller is going to skull fuck this terrible Cincinnati Bengals defense. Darren Waller is going to go in there in Oakland and just hit them into submission. Darren Waller is going to play a great game. Now I'm going to be sitting down Tyler Eifert in this game. I have no trust in Tyler Eifert. I have no trust in Ryan Finley. So you're just going to be sitting them both down. Next game here, the Monday night matchup, and by Monday night, I mean the Sunday night football matchup between the Bears at the Rams. Actually a good matchup from last year, but in this game, I'm going to be starting up Gerald Everett. Now, Gerald Everett has proved time and time again that he can perform in fantasy football. He has some good games, he has some bad games, but against the Bears, a defense that is good but not that great against the tight end position, actually, Gerald Everett should be able to go out there and perform without a Brandon Cooks, a vital part of that offense. One of the four pieces of that offense. You got Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. He's one of them. So you take him out and slot Gerald Everett right into that lineup. You just stick him in there. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't want to give a bit of a I don't even know what I was going to say there, but we'll just avoid that. But Gerald Everett is going to go in there against the Bears and put up a top 10 performance. And I'm going to be sitting down Trey Burton. Trey Burton hasn't done shit all season. The only thing he's done in his career is throw the ball in the Philly special. Fuck Trey Burton. Next game here, and the final game of the week, is the Monday Night Football match between the Chiefs at the LA Superchargers. I'm going to be starting up Hunter Henry in this matchup. Hunter Henry has been great after returning from that injury, and I assume that this game is going to be great yet again. The Chargers offense looked putrid, but it didn't matter because Hunter Henry looked amazing. And the Chiefs defense is putrid, terrible, all those fucking words that we had for the Bengals. Just like that, Hunter Henry is going to be able to slip straight in there and skull fuck the Chiefs defense. And Travis Kelce may be able to do the exact same thing against the Chargers. These guys are going to both be top 5 tight ends easily, maybe even the top 2 in my rankings. Knock one time if you're with me. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did not hear my Xbox controller smack against the table when I knocked a bit aggressively. Thank you all for watching. I love each and every single one of you guys so much. Make sure to check out overlaydfs.com, link down below in the description. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure to click that subscribe button, like I said. I love you all. Goodbye, my friends.